Alright, everybody, we're here to talk about the really important things in this life, like Star Wars. Now, I just went and saw Solo last night. Now, I didn't intend to originally, right? Originally, I was planning on boycotting this movie just because Disney has been shitty and antagonizing the fans and just making dumb decisions with the movie and whatever. I just wasn't into it as much. So I just wasn't interested in seeing it. But my brother-in-law bought one of those group ticket deal things. We took over the movie, me and my family and a bunch of different people's friends that they brought, and we just took over the whole theater. And it was kind of cool. I went mostly just to see my family, got to see my nephews and stuff. So it was cool. I was happy, and maybe that put me in a good mood, and that made me like the movie better. Because honestly, I was expecting to hate this thing. I was just expecting it to just be garbage trash. And it wasn't. There was definitely some stupid parts, which I'll get to in a second, but overall I would say it's a decent movie. And of the 4 Disney Star Wars movies that have been released, I would say Rogue One is still my favorite, and this Solo would probably be my second favorite. And then Force Awakens third, and then The Last Jedi would be the end of that list. So this is no Last Jedi, and I look at what's going on Rotten Tomatoes for this movie, and what I'm seeing is this movie doesn't deserve this backlash. This backlash is coming from what happened with the last movie. So when you see the critics' score being so low, I think it's because a lot of critics got called out for giving the last movie 90-something% when it was absolutely terrible and ruined a lot of the storyline of the franchise permanently, and just kind of ruined this new trilogy too, because it completely went against The Force Awakens and kind of ruins everything that was set up there. So whatever. So yeah, that one's terrible, right? So when critics were giving that 90%, people were, they were easily able to see that this was Disney using their influence, that these critics were just shills. So this time around, they're being extra critical. They're giving it 60%, 70%. I don't know if it necessarily deserves that. I mean, 70-something maybe would be fair, maybe low 80s. I don't know. It's certainly not the best movie ever, but because my expectations were just so low, my expectations for Solo were just so low that I ended up walking away pleasantly surprised. Now, Disney still deserves a boycott. I'm still upset that they ended up getting my money. I don't necessarily advise anyone to go rush out and see this movie, but hey, if it's on, HBO or something when you're flipping through your movie channels, a year or two from now, and you get a chance to watch it for free or something at home. Yeah, it's a decent movie. You should see it if you like Star Wars, I guess. They didn't ruin Han Solo. I was totally expecting them to ruin Han Solo. They ruined the Falcon. I'll get to that. They don't ruin Lando. They don't ruin him, but they do. It's kind of disrespectful what they do. I mean, he falls in love with the droid. If it was just the scenes in the movie that I'm looking at, I would say that, it was just mainly meant as a comedy kind of moment, like a comedic little thing, oh, ho, ho, he fucks his droid. He's in love with his droid. It wasn't, done in a weird way. It was just supposed to be goofy and funny. But with the politics that have gone on with these movies, with the politics that Disney pushes, Kathleen Kennedy pushes, Jonathan Kasdan has been pushing with the whole pansexual stuff that was out there, when you add that into it, it is a little weird. So yeah, I think they kind of disrespected Lando's character, but the scenes in the movie aren't really bad. It's not like they seriously make him pansexual, although yes, the innuendo is that he fucks his droid and has a kind of strange attachment to it in some way. But I don't know, maybe Luke would have had an attachment to R2-D2. Maybe he would have cried if R2-D2 got damaged and destroyed. I don't know. Maybe, but whatever. My first biggest complaint with this movie, right off the bat, the first thing I noticed that was jarring, there's no opening Star Wars crawl. Now, this was true also with Rogue One. With Rogue One, it made sense not to have one because it's based on one line from another title crawl in another Star Wars movie. So to then make another crawl out of the crawl, it kind of felt stupid, so they decided, let's just not have a crawl for this one. But then that kind of sets the precedent that the non-episodic Star Wars movies don't have the opening crawl. And you know what? That makes it not feel like a Star Wars movie. I see the, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I'm waiting for that bum, ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum, 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 but it never comes. And it just goes into like some little text on the screen, not a crawl in space with music, but just no music, no sound, and just a line of text like, hey, we're on Corellia, and it's shit. And then we're there, and we see Han, driving around Corellia, whatever. So that kind of sucks. That you set the precedent with Rogue One that none of these movies outside of the episodes can have the fanfare, the opening crawl. That kind of sucks because that makes these movies not feel like Star Wars. Number two, Han. My second complaint. Han getting his name was stupid. Why can't he just be Han Solo? I don't get it. I guess because now he's a street orphan. I guess he's an orphan. We don't really know, but we still don't really know Han's origins. This is Han's origin movie, but I don't know what was going on in Corellia. Was he born there? Did he end up there? What is this? I forget what they called it, the exclusion zone or the containment zone. They had a name for it, but there's like a zone of Corellia apparently that you can't leave. Why? Well, tell me about Corellia. And again, this is where an opening crawl would have helped. Okay, you give me a paragraph or two about what the fuck is going on in Corellia, and you give me a sentence or two about Han. Where was he born? Was he born here? How did he get here? What happened to his parents? So yeah, so he has no name. So he gets to the Imperial Academy, and I like, by the way, that he goes to the Imperial military. That was cool. But yeah, so he goes to the Imperial Academy. They ask him his last name. He's like, I don't know. Well, they say, who's your people? Who's your clan? Your people? Your family? I don't know. I'm alone. Well, Solo then. I mean, that's kind of dumb. You could have at least had Han say it. Somebody else made a comment. I forget who. I heard him somewhere on YouTube. But they said, wouldn't it have been better if it would have been like, I'm Han, I fly solo. And then that would have been a better way of doing it. The way they did it was kind of lame, but whatever. I don't think his name should just be his name, okay? We don't need to change up this bullshit. Because there was rumors before this movie came out that he actually got his name, like it was a title. Like when you work in this crime syndicate, you become like Han Solo. Just like Darth Vader is a title. It's not his name. His name's Anakin Skywalker, but he's a Darth, which is like a Sith Lord, and his title is Vader. He's a Darth Vader. So Han Solo was just a Han Solo. That was the rumor that was going around. Well, now that was really stupid. I'm glad they didn't go that direction. But why did you have to make his name fake anyway? Why can't that just be his name? I don't know. It's stupid. Third thing I didn't like about it. The other big thing I didn't like about Han's character, and this is where they maybe disrespect his character a little bit. He's a cuck. Literally. And I'm not saying this like as a right-wing like trash talk kind of thing. Like I really mean like they literally made his character a cuckold. He is all about getting back. So when they try to escape, him and his woman Kira try to escape Corellia. They get separated at the last second. And then she gets pulled away by the crime syndicate that's following them, or whoever is following them. And then he is like stuck on the other side, and he needs to get out of there because now the security's been alerted to him. So he like just leaves the planet. But then he's all about getting a ship and going back and finding her. Well, then he finds her, and he tries to get back with her, and she's like, oh, well, she's working with this criminal syndicate now. You see a tattoo on her wrist, and you immediately know she's going to be a bad guy from here on out in the movie. It was telegraphed way too blatantly. They should not have shown that tattoo right away. Because you immediately knew. And then, so later on, like when they're alone on the Falcon, he's like telling her like, oh, you know, I want to be with you, whatever, I love you, what's with us, how are we going to make this happen? And she's like, you don't know what I've done. If you did, you wouldn't look at me that way. And before she can even finish the sentence, he's kissing her. And you've already seen her with the branding tattoo on her wrist of this criminal organization. You've seen her at the beck and call of the head of this organization. You know he's fucking her. And Han, and she's telling Han, like, I've done a lot of fucked up shit since we've been apart. You're not going to love me the same. It's not the same as it was last time you saw me. And he immediately, before she's done telling him how many dicks she's sucked, he's kissing her. And it's like, she just told you where her mouth's been. What the fuck are you don't, I'm not saying you need to hate her, but is your first reaction to just jump up in there and kiss her on the lips? No. I mean, it would have totally made sense, especially for Han's character, to be a little bit more standoffish and distrustful and like, yeah, I may have loved you, but you're kind of working with these shady people now. And the whole thing, you know, like Woody Harrelson's character trying to teach Han, like, you can't trust anybody, even Kira and all this stuff. So, yeah, he should have been, he shouldn't have been so gung-ho about loving some chick that just told him she's been sucking off a bunch of dudes. I mean, she didn't tell him that, but basically that's what she was saying. Okay, my biggest gripe of all in the movie, maybe? Well, yeah, I think this is my biggest gripe of all. L337. This robot sucks, okay? Worst character in this movie. I would say the second worst character in all of Star Wars. I say that without hesitation. L337 is right behind Jar Jar Binks. The only reason that L337 is not more annoying than Jar Jar Binks is because, thankfully, the writers of this movie used L3 fairly sparingly. She's not in every single scene the way Jar Jar was in Episode 1. Now, having said that, L3 definitely ruins every scene she's in. For me, she is fucking annoying. The name, Leet, but no one calls her Leet. Yeah, L337, Leet. Did Lando name her that? Well, why doesn't he call her Leet then? Or is that just her model number and it just so happens to be Leet? Which is dumb. But whatever, it's a movie. It's just a robot name. That's my biggest gripe is just the character's fucking annoying and just shouts. Oh, and she has, she's basically a sassy black woman. You know how Jar Jar Binks was, people said he was a racist character because, you know, he talks like, Misa talka like this, massa. Like he's just a fucking, he's like a minstrel character, right? Like a blackface kind of character. Well, L337 is kind of like a sassy black woman character. That's exactly who she is. And they gave her robot wide hips and in a weird robot walk where she shakes her hips back and forth like a big, fat, sassy black woman. Yes, she literally walks around the movie like a big, fat, sassy black woman, shouting sassy black woman sayings and demanding equal rights and, like, snapping her fingers like, child. Like, it's just a terrible, fucking, retarded, annoying character. Ruins every scene she's in. And the biggest complaint about this whole thing that I have is, I mean, it was great when she died. That scene was amazing. Wonderful. I'm so glad she finally shut the fuck up. But then they download her navigational component into the ship's computer. And I know for a fact this character is going to come back. L337 is now going to have her sassy black woman personality in the Millennium Falcon forever now. And what Disney has done, and this is what they do that makes fans hate them, they take things that we already loved and they try to co-opt it. Now it's theirs. The Millennium Falcon, now it's theirs. That's their Millennium Falcon. It's got their SJW droid in the fucking mainframe computer. So now the character is totally different. The ship, the Millennium Falcon is a character in Star Wars, right? That's why they keep bringing it back, because they want to cash in on this character that is the ship. By now putting L3 in the ship, they subvert the character. Now it's their character. It's their SJW character. So I really don't like that. I know that's going to come in later movies. That will show up in later movies. Guaranteed. And it's going to suck. So Lando was pretty cool. Like I said, he was kind of disrespected with the whole bisexual, pansexual thing, but it was mostly done for laughs. It wasn't done, like, serious. Like, they weren't really seriously pushing pansexuality. It was just a goof, I guess. But they did imply he's fucking his droid, so it's not a joke. It's that's part of his character now. So yeah, that's Lando now. And yeah, when in the scene when L3 dies, like Lando is like in tears over this droid. Like, it's stupid. And number one, it doesn't work because the audience can't empathize with the droid the same way that we can with a character. So this droid, like, freaking out that it's been broken in half and can't feel its legs and it's dying and it doesn't know what's going on, and Lando's trying to comfort her. It doesn't really work because it's not a real person. It's not a real living thing. The audience can't really emote with it. I don't know. Maybe if it had eyes, like proper eyes, not just a blue light, maybe we could emote with it better. I don't know. But yeah, it just doesn't work. It's a stupid scene and it just makes Lando look dumb. So, at the very end of the movie, everyone's betraying everybody. It's kind of ridiculous, but whatever. It's a fun scene, sure. So everyone betrays everyone, and then Kira tells Han, after they make it through and kill Dryden, the evil guy, she tells Han, go get the coaxium, which is like the MacGuffin that they're after, from Woody Harrelson's character, and I'll stay here and get some jewels and stuff so we have some money to do other shit later. So Han runs off and goes and does that, and then she takes control of the yacht, because it was this criminal. They killed Dryden, which was the second in command of this criminal syndicate, and he had this big yacht. And so she takes the yacht for herself. She takes his ring, and then it becomes it turns out to be a key that turns on this hologram thing, and then boom, you see the guy that she's speaking to, the head of the Crimson Dawn organization, turns out to be Darth Maul. I don't know how I feel about this. I never liked in the expanded universe that Darth Maul lived with robot legs. I thought that was pretty lame. But I also thought it was lame that Darth Maul died in Episode 1. He was a cool character. Fans liked him. And he died way too soon. It would have been better to see more of him. So I understand why they brought him back in the cartoons and stuff. So now he's in the movies. And he's got the robotic legs and stuff, so I guess that's all canon now. And again, I don't know how I feel about that, because I mean, just make a new character. Fuck. I mean, please, just don't bring back look, you already made the mistake, or Lucas made the mistake of killing the character too soon. You can't. That was a mistake that detracted from the quality of the writing, the quality of the story. Making a second mistake where you go through some convoluted means of bringing back this character from some obviously fatal end. It just ruined the character's no longer the same character. He's not believable that he could have survived and become this person that he is now and done all these things. Whatever, though, it's a movie, and like I said, he was a good character. They should have gotten more out of him. So I guess this is how they're going to do it. So now he's in the Star Wars universe still now. And he's around the same timeline as the original trilogy, so we could see him again. The resolution with Kira, though, we don't really get a resolution with Kira. Are we going to see her again? I think so. I kind of wonder... So because we didn't get a resolution between her and Han, that was kind of like the main plot of the movie was, in the beginning, they're trying to escape Corellia. He is able to escape, but she's not. And then the movie becomes about him going back to Corellia to get her. When she tells him, go get the coaxium and then come back, but then she flies off. He never knows why she did that. The audience never knows why. I guess she chose power over love, which is the opposite choice that Luke made when Darth Vader offered to rule the galaxy with him as father and son. Luke turned it down. He wanted a relationship with his father, sure, but he wasn't after power. Whereas this woman says, well, I can either leave now and go off with Han, I can have love and a family and whatever, or I can stay here and have power, and she chooses power. So it was interesting to see that other side of it, but we didn't get to hear her explain her decision. We didn't get to see Han, like, learn of that decision. I mean, we see him, he watches the thing fly away. But if the entire movie was built up to him finding her, well, now wouldn't his first reaction be to go follow that yacht? But he doesn't. He goes off to Tatooine. So it doesn't make any sense. His whole motivation has been established in this movie as going after her, and then she runs away, and he never tries to find out why. He's like, oh well. Like, it makes no sense. And especially since he's already committed to a life of crime himself, so he'd be willing to go with her. But she said he was a good guy. So I think maybe she didn't think he was really cut out for that life. So there's no real resolution to the main story of the movie, which is kind of lame. I do think we're going to see Kira again, and I think the resolution is we're going to finally get she's going to be like a Mara Jade character, but for Han, in a sense. I think we're going to find later that that's why Han left Leia and Ben, and maybe that's why Ben turned to the dark side. Maybe he runs off with Kira. I mean, she comes back into his life later. Maybe he drops everything to go see what could have been. Maybe. I'm wondering if that's the direction that they're going to go for. But who knows? One thing I did like, Han shot first. Now, Woody Harrelson is probably my favorite character in this movie, and he's gruff, and he's unforgiving, and he's almost emotionless. He does have a soft spot for this one woman that dies in the beginning of the movie, but he gets over it pretty quick. He's an emotionless, cold killer. He's believable in that character, and he teaches Han how to be that way. And while he's giving his final villain speech, like, oh, there's one more lesson I have to teach you, huh? You see? Before he can finish the sentence, Han shoots him. And Woody Harrelson, as he's laying there dying, is like, yeah, it was, it's a good thing you shot me. I was going to shoot you. And then Woody Harrelson dies. And so, Han shoots first. That's good. And we see why he shoots first. Because he is a good guy. He is kind-hearted. But he's not stupid. And when he knows someone's about to pull the trigger on him, he's not just going to sit there and wait for it. So, yeah, you can shoot first and still be the good guy. So, yeah, this movie corrected George Lucas's mistake on Han's character. And even after he kills Woody Harrelson, or as Woody Harrelson's character is dying, he runs over to him and comforts him while he's dying. And Woody Harrelson's character says, all I wanted to do was go play the Vodafone or whatever it is. That was established earlier in the movie that when he finally got enough money set together, he was going to go retire and just play a Vodafone, which I guess is like the Star Wars equivalent of the holophoner. But yeah, so he dies, and Han doesn't have animosity towards him. He kills him because, yeah, the guy was going to shoot him, but it was just business. It wasn't personal. So yeah, I like that about Han's character. So yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Not the greatest in the world, but I was expecting far worse. So this is definitely passable, but I totally understand and agree with anyone that wants to boycott Disney Star Wars. You should. They don't deserve your money. They have been hostile to large sections of their own fan base. They're following the Ghostbusters 2016 playbook, which didn't work for them and won't work for Disney. Calling your fan base sexist or racist because they don't like your product is a cop-out, and it's also slanderous. And it can only antagonize your fan base. There's nothing to gain from it. It's just a terrible business decision. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why the people above them are allowing that. but they are. So I totally understand the boycott. Like I said, I went and saw it just more for my family than anything. But it was halfway decent. If you get a chance to watch it for free at home later on, yeah, it's worth watching once. Sure. But yeah, that's about it.